kicking down the door. Let's go. Had to switch the whole lane when I'm driving the machine. True vision, big dream. Kingpin of the scene. They be talking on the net. I just count the green. Cash. From a phantom to a ghost, you know.
NFL Nation, welcome to the weekly wrap. Lawrence Foster here with you. We got our NFC East preview today and our Cowboy Atlanta Falcon fan with us as well. Great to have you here this week. How you been?
Hey, man, good to be here. I hate doing this division because it involved the Dallas Cowboys, but hey, we got to break it down for the fans. We're going to give the fans what they're asking for. Matter of fact, I have my wife's family here who are all Dallas Cowboys fans. So I'm getting it bad from both ends, man, but we're going to try to make them get
all right,
we're going to
keep
get through
the Cowboys slander to a minimum then in honor of them. We don't want to bring it up too much.
Right.
All right, but we have the NFC East on tap. Before we get into that, I want to give you a chance. Your Falcons have already played their preseason game. So give us, everybody, your thought on how the Falcons looked after their first game.
Man, I tell you, it's rough. It's rough. Preseason is rough, especially when you're coming off a rebuild where you're coming in with a new general manager, new head coach, a slew of new players. So it's going to be pretty rough, but I think we're still going to make a pretty good showing in the regular season. What I'm counting on, the players that we expected to see good things out of, we saw good things from. So it's the depth role players that we're concerned about. That we got to finish out the preseason and see exactly what we can get from these fellas. So hopefully we can smooth out these rough edges and rough spots that we ran into and against Denver Broncos. Of course, Denver Broncos with Peyton, he has a bone to pick with the Falcons. So he was out to start something. So yeah, he actually went into his post game interview and he actually shot at us, and I'm like, did he just say that on camera? He's like, there was a lot of people dressed up as empty seats, and I'm like, man, it's just a preseason game, man. So, but I understand it. It's a rivalry with Sean Payton. So I'm gonna take it on the chin, and hopefully we'll see them in the postseason.
And before we move on, the other thing was Pierce ended up getting I think 8-game suspension. So what do you think about that? Was that less than what you thought, or you think that's a fair punishment for him? I mean, you already lost your one end to a bad injury. So just your thoughts on that news of him getting the 8-game suspension.
Yeah, we lost Jalen Walker, unfortunately, to an ACL injury, and but with James Pierce Jr., a lot of the fans were thinking for the 6-game suspension, and I think I might have been the only one that was saying that we might see him by the bye week. But fortunately enough, is 8 games. So by week 9, I'm hoping that JMPJ is just as angry as he was when he left in 2025 and come back in rare form and be pretty pissed off about that suspension. So, but I kind of predicted it was going to be a lengthy suspension. If you take a look at what happened to Ezekiel Elliott when he went through his situation, he got 6 games suspension from the NFL, and he didn't have any charges brought against him. So that's why I went outside the realm and was thinking 8 to 10 games. So, but he got 8 games. And I like that idea. I like that one. Hopefully this young man will learn from this experience and come back and have a very lengthy and very productive year for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm thinking, he can be that Lawrence Taylor for us. So hopefully he can live up to that expectation from me.
Yeah. All right, and that brings us into our weekly divisional preview. We are on the NFC East this week. We do things alphabetically here. So we have the NFC East, obviously Dallas, the Giants, Commanders, and Eagles. Always a very interesting division. Pretty much every team will be featured prime time throughout the year because they're all big names and markets. So before we dive into each team, just your general thoughts about the division as a whole before we dive into Dallas.
Yeah, this is one of those very tough divisions that everyone is competitive in, right? But if you want to understand the NFC East, you got to start with one simple fact and realize that the Philadelphia Eagles is the team to beat. Everyone is chasing them. But here over the last couple of seasons, that gap has pretty much been narrowed down to very close finishes between the 1 and 2 teams. And then you have the 2 at the very end that are on the outskirts that are competing for the 3rd, 3 and 4 spot. So the Eagles finished what 2020 and 2025 at 11-6. They won the East. Dallas finished 7-9. Washington 5-12. New York 4-13. But both Washington, Dallas, and New York both have made significant improvements since then. So, and hopefully they're hoping that those improvements will pay off and make this an even closer division as it was in the past. So the Cowboys, they actually have firepower, but for some reason, the way it looks on paper, it does not pan out what they're actually doing, during the course of the season. Washington still has one of the most intriguing young quarterbacks in Jaden Daniels. The Giants have a new new regime rather, under John Harbaugh. The Giants, they're betting on that Jackson Dart becomes the answer for them. But don't think about Jackson Dart. He can't be the answer for the New York Giants, but he has to learn to stay healthy. He took a hit the other day, man, in preseason.
It was rough.
A quarterback should never take. I mean, I don't care how young you think you are, how much of a stud, or how strong you think you are as a quarterback. In your mind, you have to realize that you are the franchise player for that team. You are the future of that team. Now, you may not be the marquee player or the player that they market around, but you are the future. You are what they're counting on and building around for the incoming future. And Jackson Dart had to put that in his mind. I know he wants to go out there and make the big plays for this team, and the team is looking up to him, but he has to keep in mind, I'm that guy that they're building around. Malik Neighbors, same way. He has to find a way to stay healthy himself. He's going to be Jackson Dart's savior. And hopefully they're find a very interesting number 2 or 3 receiver that can come in and supplement him. But Philadelphia, hey man, they at the top, man. As they say, king of the hill. You're the king until somebody knocks you off. And this makes the NFC one of the most fascinating divisions in football. Very tough division. NFC rather. I mean, this division is one of the divisions that's very tough. They're the top division in the NFC to me.
Yeah. And we'll kick it off with Dallas. We'll do it alphabetically in our team-by-team breakdown. You already mentioned their firepower. They got Pickens. They got Lamb. Javonte Williams had a really bounce-back breakout year and got that contract with him. Dak is improving every year. Really, it all boils down to the defense, which allowed 30.1 points a game last year, 511 total points, worst in the NFL. So you saw what Dallas did in the offseason. They traded for Rashawn Gary, signed Jalen Thompson to a big deal. Kobe Durant came over from the Rams, and they also drafted who I thought was one of the better players in the draft, and Caleb Downs. Yeah. So do you think the Cowboys have done enough to address the defensive side just to get them maybe into the 20th as opposed to 32nd, and that'll make all the difference for them?
Yeah, for sure. But one thing about Dallas, they always have weapons. So and they always that team that has you like scratching your head, like what in the world is going on? They got a Pro Bowl quarterback, Pro Bowls. I mean, not just one, but 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers. They have a very nice offensive line. Defense is not the greatest, but they're stout up front. Secondary kind of lackadays a little bit, but as a team as a whole, you're looking at Dallas. You're saying, why aren't they more competitive in this division? Why are they not giving Philadelphia a run for their money? So I don't know what it is. I hate to say this, but I think they should move on from Dak Prescott. And I'm hoping that everybody in the living room didn't hear me. But
I think you're in dangerous territory there.
But I mean, you got to look at the common denominator too. I mean, who's been around since Dallas hasn't been able to reach the playoffs? Dak Prescott. So I'm not saying that he's the sole reason, but he may be one of the reasons why he hasn't been able to do it. And I hate to point the finger at him because he's a very good quarterback. But you have to say, why aren't we giving Philadelphia a more run for their money? Now, things are not without hope with Dallas, right? So the team, they could be the most improved team coming into this season, right? The CeeDee Lamb pickup, that's going to be crazy. But Dallas cannot expect Prescott and the offense to score their way out of every problem that they're facing. The pass rush have to be there. The secondary has to remain stout just as much as that front line. But their coaching strategy, I mean, they got to stop relying on Prescott to make these superhero plays, much like what Josh Allen is doing with the Bills. they got to stop expecting because he's not that guy anymore. He's not younger. He's not young anymore. And the way he's having to run out of the pocket on down after down, you have to wonder, are his legs going to be able to hold up? He's sustained 2 injuries already to his legs, so you have to wonder whether or not he's going to be able to hold up. But they're going into the season, man. They got to play above average football to get back into even in contention, just to even be spoken in the same voice with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the one thing they got to do is stop these 3 and outs. If you saw of late with the weapon that they got, surely they can extend plays and extend drives to get down into the red zone and score some football or score some points. But they are wild card contenders, but you can't count them out. Now, the one thing about Dak Prescott, once he gets into the playoffs, you don't know which one is going to show up. Is it going to be the old Prescott, or is it going to be the Prescott that's been falling short for so many years? So it's all up in their court now. They have the weapons, they got the quarterback, they have the coaching. Now let's see where it goes. But they have to do more than what they've been doing in the past.
Yeah, and you mentioned like the kind of drastic going to get rid of Dak mentioned there, which you're still alive, so good for you. Nothing happened to you for saying that in your house. But you're right that in terms of that all the coaches Dak has had and all the turnover at that franchise, and what has it brought them? Nothing. So you got to look at what's been the same, and he's been there. He's been the constant. There's been different running backs, different receivers, different defensive coordinators, defensive players. Dak's been the constant, like you said. When it's crunch time or when it's really time to deliver, just something always seems to happen. So I think you're right. Like in terms of like, if I'm a Cowboys fan, like if it's not this year, but like they got to start looking at the future. And they brought in the defensive help. They got weapons all over on offense. It's like, if we're not going to make a run this year, when are we? If you're a Cowboys fan. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Dak is on a pretty lengthy contract. I think he's there for another couple of years. So even if that was the case, what's the future at the quarterback position for the Dallas Cowboys? Are they going to, because the 2027 next season's draft is one deep draft for quarterbacks. A lot of potential starting quarterbacks, and then there's a host of developmental type quarterbacks that could come in and very well become Dallas's future. But it's all on Jerry Jones now. You know, Jerry Jones is not the guy that like to move away from his quarterback, but hey, he has the money to do whatever he wants to do.
The biggest thing for Dak is that he's a Jerry guy, and Jerry stands like he stood by Garrett as their coach for how long when they just couldn't get over any hump. So Jerry does, like, as much as people talk about him making moves and like being kind of cutthroat guy, he's also very loyal to his people. You look at all the former Cowboys who have some sort of role within the franchise, either as an ambassador or in the front office. So Dak's got in good with him. So I just looked at the contract in 2024. He signed a 4-year, $240 million extension. So he's got a couple years left. So he's got 3, including this year. So he's still, and it's such a high contract cost too.
Yeah.
And you also have to wonder, Pickens is on the franchise tag, didn't sign an extension.
Right.
He was on his best behavior last year, but Pittsburgh got rid of him for a reason. So it's going to be bear watching if he doesn't get the targets where he thinks he's going to be costing himself money now because he's going to be a free agent next year. Is he going to become kind of a locker room cancer? We're going to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you have to really keep an eye on, because he's good at the beginning of the season. But once he starts getting bored, he's not getting the looks that he's normally not in conversations as much as he thought. He's gonna start becoming a distraction. I think that's what happened to him in Pittsburgh. I think there was some words being said that the upper hands didn't appreciate. Because I think if he had kept his mouth shut, kept his head down, I think he would have still been in Pittsburgh. Money regardless. I don't think it had anything to do with the money. I think it was more about attitude and whether or not he was going to level up and play up to, play Pickens football, because everybody know he's a tremendous player. I mean, anybody that could fit him into a scheme would love to have him in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, there's certain franchises that just don't. If you start doing kind of crazy stuff, Pittsburgh is one of those that look, they had 3 head coaches since the 70s, not
Yeah.
counting Mike McCarthy now. So if you're messing around there, you're like, all right, we don't need you anymore. We'll just replace you. I mean, they went and got Michael Pittman from the Colts. So so that moves us next to the New York Giants, who I think are one of the more intriguing teams this year. You already mentioned about their regime change, bringing in John Harbaugh, who obviously created a winning culture, won a Super Bowl with Baltimore. They have a really young nucleus that if they stay healthy, as you mentioned, Scatabo and Neighbors both had season-ending injuries last year. Jackson Dart, as you mentioned, already took a pretty vicious hit, especially in the preseason. You don't really see that happen. So I want to talk to you about ask a question of, can Harbaugh do a year one turnaround, or do you think it's more of a multi-year project of what he's trying to build there with the Giants?
I would say it's not impossible for him. I would definitely give him 2 years. Even after 2 years, I would still look to say give him a chance to, give him a John Harbaugh type of change, right? Because Jackson Dart, you got to stay healthy, like you said. Scatabo took an injury, so Malik Neighbors took an injury. Then on defensive side, you got Thibodeau, who took an injury. So I mean, he had all kind of things. The Giants, rather, I ain't gonna say John Harbaugh, but the Giants had all kind of issues with injuries last season. And they although they went 4-13, didn't tell the whole story, right? That record don't tell the whole story. The Giants were very competitive as far as in games and how they were able to compete. Now, when you're talking about putting a championship team together, John Harbaugh is very capable of doing that. Didn't get it done quite like he wanted to in his past coaching season, but he has that knowledge. He can do that especially with a young team like this one. It's just going to take some time to put together this team. His biggest need right now is that offensive line. The Giants cannot develop Dart if he's constantly under siege, which proved what happened in the preseason. Dart has that constant that a coach loves. He has that heart. He has that drive. He has that energy. He has what you want in a quarterback, and then young at that. So you talk about a quarterback his age. I'm going to give him 4 years to say, okay, until he reach his peak, right? But they need to know exactly where they want to be, right? They want to be back in contention. This is where Harbaugh should make his biggest impact. Build a physical, low mistake football team, run the ball, protect Dart, use Neighbors as a featured weapon, let the defense dictate the tempo, and don't ask Dart to win too many games, throwing 45 to 50 times a game, because he'll end up in the same situation he did last season with an injury that could possibly end his season, and we definitely don't want to see that again. Quarterbacks taking 2 back-to-back seasons where it's a season-ending injury is never a good look. It messes with them mentally. It sure enough messes with them physically. So that's something that the Giants definitely have to do, is address that front line, give him a protection. But they are outside contender. That's not saying that they can't be a wild card team. But like I said, that 4-13 record, that does not tell the full story of how they played last year. They did play some pretty good, tough games last year, and lost by field goals. So look for them. I'll give them a couple of years, though. I give them a couple of years.
And if I'm a Giants fan, I look at last year and I think, why can't we be this year's Patriots? You look at the similarities between what happened there. The Patriots brought in a new coach, but who was a veteran who'd done it before with Mike Vrabel, second-year quarterback, young weapons they spend in the offseason and improve. And you look what the Giants did. They brought in a proven guy, second-year quarterback. You already got a top receiver when he's healthy, Scatabo. They drafted an offensive lineman at 10. They drafted another pass rusher. So you look at what they have on defense. If I'm a Giants fan, I look and be like, why not us this year? They're going to have a last place schedule. Like you said, like they're a wild card contender already. Record being kind of a little bit deceiving of what they dealt with last year and still being in lots of games. So if I'm a Giants fan, I think, why not? And you have legitimate hope. It's not like a team like the Dolphins who, like, sorry, Dolphins fans, like, you don't have much of a chance this year. The Giants can have a legitimate hope in their mind. So you look at that and you wonder, like, if the Giants think like, hey, our offensive line's not so good. They got 3 pass rushers. I'm sure a lot of teams would trade one of their starting offensive linemen for a Kayvon Thibodeau because you still got Burns and now Arvell Reese you drafted.
Right.
Why don't you give the Falcons a call and see what they're willing to give up for Kayvon Thibodeau?
You know what? I thought about that, right? And coming into the season, well, prior to his draft, I actually liked the young man. But as I watched him throughout the season last year, I kind of thought like, okay, maybe we did a good thing not bringing him in. Not because it's an injury, because I didn't take that into consideration. It was his play, right? He did a lot of things that I thought at this level, right? In college, he was a beast. I mean, I love the man's play in college. But when he got to this level, I don't know if it was the defensive scheme, defensive play calling, or what, but he kind of found himself out of position a lot of times. Getting pinned back in ways away from the play. He took himself out of the play several times. So, and I kept a good eye on him because I really liked him, and I thought that he could be a very good fit for Jeff Ulbrich. But I don't know. It may have been coaching scheme or defensive calling scheme. I don't know. It's hard to put a finger on that one. But like I said, he found himself out of a lot of plays and missed a lot of tackles last year, and then he got hurt. So it's hard to say what was the problem with him last season. Maybe it's development.
Yeah. And I'm going to put you on the spot. You mentioned they're a wild card contender. Do the Giants make the playoffs in 2026?
It's going to be very close. I don't think they will. But if they can control the clock, play defense, protect the football, get the explosive play from neighbors, they can definitely turn those close wins, those close losses to wins. But they have to protect Jackson. They have to. But they have to address this offensive line. And you got to, we've seen lately here, your offensive line is one of the things that you have to have going into the postseason, even to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl down to even wild card teams. All these teams have great offensive lines. And the Giants really just don't have that just yet. But I think they will go probably 7-10, missing the playoffs. They could very easily squeak themselves into the wild card, but I can say they can go 7-10. They're going to be an outside contender for real, though.
And then that's a good step forward for them, too. So,
yeah, for sure.
It wouldn't be so bad. All right. And then we get to, I think, one of the most overlooked teams in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, who, like you mentioned, won the division last year, 2 years ago, won the Super Bowl. You look at the Eagles, and I've seen some power rankings in the preseason that had them like third in the division, which I just do not understand. They traded A.J. Brown, but they look at everything they added knowing they were going to be trading him. They still have a really good defense. They still have Jalen Hurts. They still have a really good offensive line. So I just do not understand how the Eagles are kind of being pushed to the back. So first of all, do you think that they should be pushed to the back? And B, just what are your thoughts of the Eagles heading into this year? Are they going to be playing with some passion, like without everyone overlooking them? They're going to have that chip on their shoulder?
Yeah, the Eagles, when you're the king, when you're the king of the hill, it's hard to kind of say you need what you need as far as improving, right? Because teams still haven't brought you down. This is what their second, third year at the top, winning the division. So they can gamble and make moves that other teams cannot. But they are the defending champions. They remain the team to beat. Their biggest threat to I think right now will be either the Washington Commanders or Dallas Cowboys, but more so Washington Commanders, provided Jaden Daniels stays healthy. But they have to try to accomplish something that's increasingly difficult, right? Staying dominant, staying at the top. And that's the question of whether Dallas, Washington, or New York, they're the only ones that can say, hey, we're going to come in and play them tough like they always do. Like I said, this is a very tough division. But they have to keep key players in key positions as well, too. Like you said, you question the A.J. Brown release, but teams like Philadelphia say, well, maybe we can move on from him. Can he be a locker room cancer? Which he could. I think he was. And the way the 2025 draft, 2026 draft went about, 2027 draft is very deep in receivers, very deep in skilled players. So, and as you look at it, the offensive scheme of a lot of teams are going to change because of the way the game is changing. So things. There are a lot of things to look at when you release a player like a AJ Brown, right? Can you bring in another productive wide receiver out of the draft, which I think they can? Jeremiah Smith, I think he's going to end up in Philly some kind of way. I don't know. If he ends up in Philadelphia, AJ Brown is going to be an afterthought. You never know what's going to happen. I don't think Philadelphia has the tools or the revenue to go. I ain't gonna say revenue, the tools or the draft picks to go try to go get Jeremiah Smith. But I can see for some reason Jeremiah Smith in a Philadelphia Eagle uniform. Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, from Ohio State.
Yeah, right. So I don't know, but it's a reason why they let a player like AJ Brown go with them being at the top. With the way the defenses are played now. I mean, AJ Brown is a GOAT when it comes to playing at that second level. So you have to wonder what the Philadelphia Eagles have up their sleeves. Maybe I'm not gonna say they're going to take a back seat, but maybe they're looking at something else that could possibly help them out as far as being a leader in the locker room, as well as being a leader on the field and not being a cancer.
Yep. And you got rid of AJ Brown, but I'm looking at who they brought in. They got Dontavian Wicks. They brought in Hollywood Brown. They drafted Lemon out of USC in the draft. So I mean, they knew, even though they didn't trade him till after June 1st because of the cap ramifications. Right. They knew what was happening. And the Eagles are one of those teams that they always stockpile positions. People where they know hey, in a year or two, we're going to lose these guys. The Eagles seem to always be one of the smart organizations that draft early and get ready for who's going to depart. So when they do leave, they're ready, they can just hit the ground running. Look what they did last year. They traded for Jalen Phillips. Like, how many teams would have just signed him to a huge deal right away? Because, man, look at what we just gave up for him. They rented him for the year. It didn't work out. He goes and signs a huge deal with the Panthers. They don't even try to tag him or anything.
Right.
Exactly. So the Eagles are one of those franchises that just Howie Roseman does a fantastic job of just building that roster. Look what he's so successful in the draft. Go Pack Go. Yes, thank you, Kelly, for coming in. Good to see you. Hope you're having a great Sunday, getting ready for your Monday. Cowboys still alive after saying Dallas should get rid of Dak Prescott, so we're happy here. He survived so far. And he's talking good about the other team. So in about an hour after the show, I'm going to send a message just to make sure you're good after what's going on. They want to wait
they know how I feel about the Dallas Cowboys. It's no love lost, but people think I'm crazy when I say I hate the Dallas Cowboys more so the New Orleans Saints. But they have to understand that 1981 game, man, that was a soul-taking, numbing experience for me as a 10-year-old. When you expected your team to finally make it to the NFC Championship and it's time for the Super Bowl, he was the Dallas Cowboys for that team that knocked us out. So, and that when we scored that final touchdown in the fourth quarter, the place erupted, and it's indicative of what happened in the Super Bowl for us in 2016. Dallas did the exact same thing in that game as what New England did to us in that Super Bowl. So they snatched one from up under us. So I wasn't
going to ever bring that up to you. I didn't want to have that wound ripped open for you, but
yeah. Well, that 2016 Super Bowl, I tell you, it takes a backseat to that game, to be honest with you. Yeah, believe it or not.
Because when you're a kid, it's so much in you. I know as a Bills fan, there are so many games I remember just ripping my heart out too. So right. I feel that.
Yeah. And I got a jersey that game too. So I mean, I was high on the hog when we lost that game, man. I was, oh my goodness, I tell you the truth.
But you were there then, right?
Yeah.
So I was there. We're gonna go off on a little tangent here before we move on to the Commanders. The NFL, when you look at prices of things, what the NFL is going to end up doing is losing people. If you don't go to that game, maybe you're not the football fan you are today. I know myself going to my first Bills game when I was 6 or 7, I'm hooked. But you look at what's going on with PLCs and how much everything costs to go now. The Bills just someone did a study it's going to be a little over $2,000 to bring a family of 4 to a Bills game.
Yeah.
Is the NFL going to hurt themselves long term by how they're pricing things, of losing the passionate fan base. They're always going to have fans, but like people like us, or like who devour the NFL, like, do you think they're going to lose that by the way things are going price wise?
Yeah. With every franchise, man, you're going to have a passionate base of fans that's going to be there regardless, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at the fans that actually fill the stadium, that actually sit in their seats and cheer their team on, you're going to look at the what Trump likes to say as the lower ram of the income people, who not necessarily stretching paycheck to paycheck, but the one who take their hard-earned money and buy tickets, right? They're not necessarily season ticket holders, but they're going to be the one that buy tickets to certain games. These are the passionate fans that needs to be able to continue to come into these games, because they're going to fill the seats. Now, when it comes to concession, it is what it is, right? Arthur Blank did a phenomenal thing with concession here in Mercedes-Benz. He's opened up the venue up to vendors. The prices are very competitive. There are some prices in there, but most people going to eat hot dogs, popcorn, and those prices there are very, very competitive. I mean, you're not looking at spending $400 or $500, just to feed your family. If you come into a football game now, you can survive on getting a couple of hot dogs for everybody, a large Coke, or depending on whether or not you drink beer or not. I mean, it's very. Arthur Blank did a very good job on that. Now, I don't know how it is at other venues, but but as far as the vendors in the building, their prices also, their portions are bigger. You're going to pay a little bit more, but the portions are bigger, so it makes it worth it if you have the revenue to do it. But I think the NFL needs to look at who they're trying to draw into these stadiums, because a lot of these stadiums now, especially at Mercedes-Benz, there are a couple of sections, like one of the ones I sit in, one of the suites, they're more catered to corporate type, people who have money. They extend those prices to them. But if they can open those suites up to people who can rent out the suites on a game by game basis, I would love to see that happen here in Mercedes-Benz. And lucky for me, I don't have to pay for it, so it's not on my dime. I get invited whenever they get the suite. So, but the thing it is, people like me, unlike me, shall I say, who can't afford to do it unless they doing it where a gang of people are teaming up to buy a suite. I would love to see that be able to happen. I think more and more of those suites are getting bought out, but I think they need to gear the fanship and the revenue, or the cost of the admitted to the game, cater it to the people who are using their hard-earned money week in and week out to come to these games. Make it affordable. I mean, you're going to get your money back. I mean, tenfold.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the reason why these stadiums are not filling up like they used to. Because back in the day, man, Fordham County Stadium was packed. The Georgia Dome was packed. And I mean, but now, man, it seems like it's more geared toward corporate invites and stuff like that. So I would love to see some kind of change. I don't know how drastic it's going to be, because they're raising the pay scale for these players, man. And you have to wonder where is money coming from. And people say, well, it's the salary cap. Yeah, but one hand wash the other. The media pays the teams. The teams divvy it out and pays allows concessions. Some concessions are paying in. I mean, yes, we do get a lot from the venue gets a lot from concession, but money is being shifted around all kind of places. So you have to wonder, where are the cuts going to be able to be made so that the fan base, the true fan base, can actually get in these seats. Yeah. Like I said, one of the suites that I get in, man, it's like 30 people in this suite, right? And I think on any given day, it may be 3, 4, 5 people at the most that are actually sitting there watching the game, that are actually cheering the team on, watching the game. Everybody else just standing in the back, they just talking. So I don't know. Maybe we need to find a way to get like the true fans here who are going to actually cheer the team on.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, even when I was a kid, I was not one of those. Like, I was watching the game. I got into the game like an hour early because I wanted to watch all the warm-ups and see what the quarterbacks are throwing. And the NFL, to me, like, they're always for short-term gain. Like, they're losing, if they're making the cheap tickets, or at least maybe making a percentage of them cheap, and like they can't be sold through a secondary source,
right?
Because
there we go.
that's how you get people long term. And that I know everyone's concerned about money. So I know they
Right.
want to make money, but you're going to make money in the long run by hooking them and making them want to come back. If you
Excellent.
never get them in the stadium, you don't get that connection that is essential for building that lifelong fandom where they're buying a shirt in the offseason, they're doing stuff in the draft. Like they
Absolutely.
need people year round.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they're
Absolutely.
going to lose them. And it's just access. Like when I'm a huge fan because we had season tickets growing up, we got back in the day, we used to just go down right where the players parked and like walk up to and
Mhm.
ask for autographs. Not a
Yeah.
problem. Like,
Now
that's why
can't
I'm
do that
saying I
today.
am like Bruce Smith and Thurman Thomas are right in front of me signing
Mhm.
stuff like a foot away. You can't
Right.
even get within a first downs length of the
Yeah.
players nowadays.
Exactly.
So to me,
Exactly.
it's just the NFL is going to lose because I'm a teacher. I don't hear kids talking much about football,
Right.
and I've
Right.
worked at different schools, different age levels, middle school, elementary. Like there's a few that, and they're like us, they're hardcore because they'll talk to me about it. But when I was growing, like the kids talk football all the time, and it's
All the
being
time.
lost to other things. And just as a fan of football, I don't want to see it start to backslide like you see other sports have went backwards in
Yeah.
popularity. I don't
Yeah.
want to see that with the NFL.
Yeah. We've seen what happened to the NBA. I mean, we definitely do not want that to happen in the NFL. The day that happens, you'll see more flag football.
Mhm.
Not tell you, I ain't gonna say that the game of tackle will no longer exist, but the fanship, the true fanship, would definitely decrease, like what you saw in the NFL.
Yeah.
Especially they keep coming up with these new rules and game changes, and I mean, it's just sometimes you have to say, okay, enough is enough. Just let these people play.
Yeah.
Try other ways, marketing ways to try to draw in the true fans.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a little tangent, but like it's something I had to talk about. And that brings us to the Commanders, the final team in the NFC East. You mentioned them having their quarterback, Jaden Daniels, who had a rough injury year last year, but the year before brought the Commanders to the NFC title game, beat the Lions, the number one seed in Detroit. So, like, they have it there. So the big question is you have to ask, like, which is going to be the real version of the Commanders and Jaden Daniels? Is it going to be 2 years ago? Is it going to be last year? Somewhere in the middle. So which version of the Commanders do you think we get this year in 2026?
Yeah, I think one of the teams that has that tremendous optimism following the emergence of Jaden Daniels was, I'm going to say, Washington Commanders. They showed this upside right early in I would say late in 2020, no, early in 2024. But Jaden Daniels suffered an injury, and since then it's been like, okay, lackluster, and I'm going to attribute that to the sophomore slump. It's not a slump for him per se, but because he went through that injury, that you had a wide receiver issue, you had coaching issues. So I'm not going to say that it was a sophomore slump per se for him, right? But it was a down season for him because of that injury, right? An ugly injury at that. But they ended the season at 5-12, right? That record doesn't erase the bigger picture for them. The Commanders still possesses one of the division's most important assets, a young quarterback with franchise changing potential. The objective for them will be simply to just improve. Period. They brought in some very important MVP level type talent that surrounded him, and this once again injuries to a very good franchise that kind of backseated them. But the team has already made the major efforts in strengthening the roster around him. Their biggest need is going to be keeping Daniels upright, and everything starts right here. And it's funny how that's the place to start for all these powerhouse teams, right? But their offensive line has to be strengthened. Their running game, a quarterback like Daniels becomes even more dangerous, right? When you have to respect the run, much like when you have Lamar Jackson. If you put a good running back behind him like a Derrick Henry, you don't know, your defense has to play the run game honestly, right? You can't just bird dog one player, but they have to build around Daniel, not around a traditional quarterback template, right? Design quarterback runs, read option concepts, movement passes, play action, the RPO. They have to get all of this involved in a consistent pattern for Jaden Daniels, not just rely on his skill set. You saw what we did with Michael Vick back in, when he was here. We definitely don't want to just rely on one aspect of his game. you want to open it up to where he can make throws that, and he can do it too. Jaden Daniels is a monster with his arm. So, but you don't want to do what Washington did last season and rely on him on 3rd and short, 4th and short, relying on Jaden Daniels to make a hero play. And it's funny how a lot of teams tend to do that when you have a quarterback with Jaden Daniels' potential. Defensively, Washington should emphasize attacking quarterbacks rather than just sitting back, allowing them to dictate the game. And I know they're trying to improve that run game where they don't want to get the football ran down their throat. So they stand back and watch and see what the running back does. They cannot no longer do that. They cannot, because you run around, you mess around and face a team like, let's say, the Atlanta Falcons with the Bijan Robinson, you're going to regret allowing that running back to get that ball in his hand and getting a full head of steam ahead of him. So Washington got to do 4 things consistently: 5 win, run the ball, improve the offensive line, keep Jaden Daniels upright, and strategize their coaching. Dan Quinn had done a beautiful job, but he got to get his coordinators in line. And I think he has a new coordinator this year too. So got to get everybody on the same page, and much like with his 2024 season, get back to that season, right? So I'm looking at them to be a wild card. I'm not going to say a long shot for them, but I think they'll definitely be in the run. They're probably even better than a wild card, I think. But I'm looking at an 8-9 season for them, maybe a 9-8 season for them.
All right. And you talk about Jaden Daniels and about him not relying on him. It makes me wonder, like, coaches who have players like him or Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, you wonder if coaches call more risky play calls in terms of like, all right, we're going to rely on the offensive line to give more protection, because if they can't, he'll just escape it. So you wonder if that boils down to why they got changed coordinator too, of like they're putting too much on him in terms of not even him running the ball, just like what the play call is, and it's too much time for him back there. So that's an underrated thing that nobody really ever talks about, is they always say, oh, look at him escape. Like, could you have called something else where he didn't have to do that and he dumps it off on an underneath thing instead? Like little things like that. And Terry McLaurin last year, talk about like he had a really down year last year. But he was a really only weapon. So I think them getting Stephon Diggs, who bounced back from his injury, which generally, like the second year after an injury like he had in Houston is where you see it. And he still had 1,000 yards and was an effective receiver. So that's a really good summer signing, like just like a week ago, that the Commanders were able to get. So you're looking at teams that can bounce back in 2026. We talked about like the Chiefs are a possibility. Obviously, the Lions bouncing back. I think you're right that the Commanders are one of those teams that definitely has everything they need to bounce back. The question is, will the new coordinator, and I think Dan Quinn's on a little bit of a hot seat as well of if they don't turn around, I think he knows that he's going to be replaced probably with a young offensive mind to pair with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. I think when you look at a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, right? He's an offensive coordinator savior, because he can do so much with the football. So run, throw. I mean, but now he has somewhat an increased package, production package, right? He has a tight end, he has a number 1, he has a number 2 now. So maybe I might be underestimating him by saying 8-9 or 9-8. They may have a 10-win season. It's all going to be how they are able to protect Jaden Daniels and utilize all of his skill set, not just rely on his legs.
And in the NFC, a 10-win season is not a guarantee of a playoff spot either. When you look at all the teams in that conference, it's going to be whoever makes the conference is going to be, and there's going to be probably a team or two that are like, man, we could have got in there and made some noise, like legitimately.
Yeah.
And then you have the NFC South.
Yeah.
I had to get a jab in there because Dolph is in here. I had to do something to do a little bit of it.
Hey, look, when you have a history like the NFC South, you can't help but take it on the chin, because you have to agree. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. This is the situation where numbers do tell the story. So I mean, you can't argue that fact.
The Bills played the Panthers Saturday, and the Bills starting defense had 3 3-and-outs for their starting offense. And
wow,
I think the Panthers are going to be more like this year. But
I've been on a couple of the Carolina Panthers podcasts, and I'll tell man, there's nobody scared of Brittle Bryce. I mean, I think that season last year, man, I don't think it was the indicative of the type of quarterback that that Bryce is. So I'm looking at Bryce to have a somewhat competitive season. It just won't be nowhere. I'm not going to say nowhere near of what he did last season, but he won't look like the superstar that he was. I don't think so. They've lost too much, and they still haven't done anything to that offensive line.
Oh, here it is. There was a picture of Bryce Young getting sacked. I'm going to see if I can throw it up on the screen for everybody. I got to. All right. If I can't figure out how to do it, I'm going to be very sad. There we go. Share screen. I'm going to share. There we go. I'm going to share it.
Oh, man.
That picture right there, just look at the Bills' defensive tackle with that big old smile on his face.
Oh, man. Hold on. We're not seeing it.
Oh, it didn't go up?
You might have to go into that article first and then bring it up.
All right. Let me see here. There it is. Share.
We just saw a collage.
You see it now?
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Look at it. This was from the game yesterday. Like our big defensive tackle, just look at his smile on the face. Like little Bryce Young right there.
Hey, it looks like he's about to get his hand on a piece of pork chops.
As soon as you said that about nobody's scared of him, I'm like, that's that picture right there in a nutshell of just this behemoth of a man. Like, Bryce, I got you.
See, that's what I was saying about I was saying in the NFC South breakdown that the fact that Carolina did not do what they're supposed to do as far as protecting Bryce, but a lot of teams have improved their rush defensive rush. That Bryce just may have to put on some skates this year and run for his life. I mean, but the Panthers have to do more than just what they did to secure the offensive line.
And the toughest thing in probably the NFL is like when you have a quarterback who's not awful but not great, is like, what do you do? Like like the Dolphins, like Tua wasn't awful. Like he had those years where they hung 70 on an NFL team. Yeah. But like, can they take you against the Josh Allens, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes? Right. You look at Bryce Young and like it's hard to be like, yeah, he can. Like he has a game here and there where he can, but it's not a consistent thing. And I don't know. Just to me, that's like that'd be the hardest thing to be as an NFL GM is like I think of like Baker as that. Like Baker's he's right square in the middle. Like, what do you do? If you get rid of him, you know the odds of you getting somebody better are slim. Right. But is he going to take you where you want to go? So I do not. What general managers have to do and make those decisions is so rough. So
oh, that's why they get paid the big bucks. Year supply of Pepto-Bismol. Antacid medicine. But that's what made guys like Terry. Well, I say Terry Fontenot, Ian Cunningham, the general manager for the Bears. That's what made these guys so smart. I mean, so notable because they're smart. They're smart at what they do. Plus, if you the common denominator between these guys, they are former football players. And oddly enough, 2 out of those 3 are offensive linemen, believe it or not. So
I think the smartest people on the field are the linemen.
Yeah. I mean, they what's his name started coaching high school football, turned that program completely around. I'm brain farting with these names right now, but they're one of their teammates, both are coaching high school football, and have turned that program completely around. This high school, y'all have to forgive me. I don't remember the name. I saw the YouTube video the other day, and that's the school that they took over hadn't won a game in like a couple of years. They went there. They're now undefeated. So sometimes coaching does. Well, I'm gonna say sometimes coaching does matter. Let's put it like that. Yeah,
like a lot of it does. Everyone always says, "Oh, it's the stars." Like a lot of coaches have had stars and they haven't had success.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Michael Jordan didn't do anything till Phil Jackson was there.
Yeah.
The
True.
Lakers didn't do anything till Phil Jackson got there.
All right.
The Knicks were in the championship, but look what they did when they got rid of Thibodeau and brought in Mike Brown.
Yeah.
So coaching 100% matters. Managing
Yeah.
egos
Yeah.
100% matters.
Oh yeah. Managing egos definitely counts. Because you definitely get some of these players, man, they think they're bigger than the program, bigger than the team, bigger than the locker room, because because they either have experience or they're the better player. But once it takes a special kind of coach to get those players to dial in, right? And that will make like when we got Atlanta had gotten Jerry Glanville back in the 80s. And we had a team, man. The defense was they were stout, but they weren't there because they had these guys that thought they were end all be all. So Jerry Glanville came in and scrapped the whole defense except for one player, Claude Humphrey, and that humbled everybody. And he stayed with that. And arguably, to me, best defense ever in NFL history, not just Atlanta history, NFL history. But they don't get the respect because the team was not winning. But I think that defense, the Grits Blitz, was the best defense in NFL history, bar none. Not even close.
I love Jerry Glanville. But back in the day, I devoured the NFL VHS tapes. They used to make like NFL Rocks and all that.
Right.
And I'll never forget like him on the sideline telling the ref, the NFL is not for long when you make calls like that. So I always think of that when I hear people make mistakes. I picture Jerry Glanville saying NFL was not for long when you're doing that type of boneheaded stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But that was back in the day when you had Tuggle and everything on your defense.
Well, no, that was when we had
that before that.
Yeah, that was 1980. That was 1980, 81, 78 through 81. Yeah.
Oh, Glanville was way back then. So
yeah, he was the defensive coordinator back then.
Okay.
But he came back later to be the head coach.
All right. See, I'm learning history right now.
Yeah.
I knew he was the head coach. I didn't know he was a coordinator previously for him. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So look at it. We were all over the board today. We talked about financials. Yeah. We talked about history. We didn't say anything bad about the Saints.
Yeah.
You said Dak should be gone. So
yeah.
Fantastic show. We'll be back next week. We'll have the AFC West, and we'll close things out the week after with the NFC West. It's only fitting to finish there, seeing as the Super Bowl champs are in that division, plus the Super Bowl favorites for this year in that division.
All right.
But we'll be back again next week, everybody. It's 7:00 Eastern for the weekly wrap. Thank you, Kelly, for joining us. Thank you, Real Fan Sports. Cowboy, any closing comments before we send it off for the evening?
Well, I tell you what, you talking about the NFC East, man, one of the powerhouses of the NFL. The division, rather. I'm not going to say the team because I don't want to put Dallas Cowboys in that category. But obviously, Philadelphia is the favorite. Dallas is the challenger. Washington is the wild card. And I'm going to flip that. Washington is the favorite, or is the challenger, and Dallas is the wild card. And New York is the rebuild with that huge upside coming into the season. But Jackson Dart, man, I tell you, I'm going to say it again. Young man, learn how to slide, learn how to run out of bounds, learn how not to take those hits, man. You would not be around taking those kind of hits.
Throw the ball away.
Man, something. I mean, do something. But the Eagles, they've earned the right to be considered the division favorite, going 11-6, winning the division in 2025. The Cowboys, they have enough offensive power, but once again, Dak Prescott, he has to be that guy. You can't blame anybody else but Dak Prescott. I'm not gonna say blame. I'm not gonna say that. But he has to get control. He is the leader of this team, not just the locker room. He's the leader of this team, this organization. He's the face. So he has to get this team back on pace to be the winning franchise. I can't believe I'm saying this. To be the winning franchise that they can be. But Washington has a quarterback that's capable of changing games. New York has a new coaching regime. But the bottom line is, man, Philadelphia is their division to lose. But if Dallas fixes their defense on that, and presumably they have that one player that could come in and change it all for them, but they have to get that defense secondary route up to back up that front seven, that front seven. But look for this team to still be competitive regardless, right? Philadelphia has lost a lot of pieces, but at the same time, they've always found a way to manage to be competitive. But I mean, that's about all I can say about the NFC East, man. Hopefully, one day this NFC South can come up and be as competitive as them. But I don't know, man. I hate talking about this division, man, all because of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. Well, we're done with it. We don't have to. And as I think either Zach or Nan, I don't know which one is on their account, but saying don't let Jerry hear that he isn't the face of the Cowboys. Yeah. Don't let him know the sun doesn't set around him either.
Yeah, true that.
But for everyone at the Come On In Sports Network, make sure you're staying tuned all week with football ramping up. All of our shows are kicking into high gear. Stay tuned here for everything. You got obviously the Fandemic show with Cowboy there. You got the Saints constantly with Dolph, Real Fan Sports. All they cover everything. So I don't even know what call them, like the Swiss Army knife of the Come On In Sports Network.
All utility
it's a
sports
sport that's on or people care about. There you have the ability to cover it.
Right.
And, the Bills beat will be not Bills beat. That's the actual. the Bills talk with SNS with me on Wednesday. So make sure you're staying tuned with us. Coming In Sports Network. You guys are always welcome to join, comment. If you're interested in joining the Come On In Sports Network, reach out to us on our channels, follow and like along. We appreciate you hanging out, guys. Have a great rest of the week. And we always say the door's open, so come on in. Have a great one.
Run it up, check the scope, money talk, money mo. Yeah, main crew say they weed it, kicking down the door. Run it up, check the scope, money talk, money mo. What? Main crew say they with it, kicking down the door. Let's go. Yeah, this is the whole lane when I'm driving the machine. True vision, big dream, kingpin to the scene. They be talking on the net, I just count the green. Cash. From a phantom to a ghost, you know.